So last week I've showed you some watercolor exercises that you can do for the whole World Watercolor Month, and we did a lot of different marks and created a lot of different papers. And also we made some little ephemera that are really easy and quick to make. But this week I'd like to show you how you can use these papers and little ephemera pieces to make a cute little postcard that you can mail to some of your friends and bring some joy and smile to their faces. Because I've never ever met a person who wouldn't be extremely happy to get a homemade postcard. It's just something you never get, and people are looking forward to them, believe it or not, from our family. They always ask us, will you send another one this year? So I encourage you to try. People are always happy, and it's such a fun, nice way to make someone's day a little bit brighter. So let's make a postcard together. And you'll use your collage papers, so you can paint some more. Last week we painted some collage papers, and now it's time to paint some ephemera or collage fodder. Those are just little pieces that you can add to your journal, cards and so on. Paint them on a bit sturdier paper though, not copy paper, because it's too thin and will warp. I used a thicker drawing paper, not even a watercolor paper here, and it still worked fine. Paint some mushrooms, leaves, a sun or two, cloud or a rainbow, and you have a nice selection. If you want, you can add some details with fine liners to your pieces. If you need help with that, let me know and I'll make a tutorial. When they are dry, we have to cut them out. It's the easiest if you leave the white border around it. You don't need to be so precise, and it's much faster. It also adds a comic look. Or you could use punches like this button punch or die cuts to cut your ephemera from painted paper. To make the card, I first chose which papers I'll use, teared the bottom piece and cut out the plant pot with scissors. I just free-handed that. I didn't even sketch anything, and you'll see that I will trim it off later on. Now I'm picking up the little ephemera pieces to see how I like it. I decided that the background should be colored, so I painted it with watercolors. I'm sorry I forgot to record that part, but you didn't miss anything. It's really easy. Now it's time to start gluing. I first glued the background with the torn edges facing up, so it gives the piece some organic texture. I trimmed the overhanging paper from the back side. That is the easiest. Next, I'm playing with my little pieces, arranging them to see how I like them and which pieces I'll use. Then I saw that my pot was too big, so I shortened it. I'm using a glue stick for gluing because that will not smear the watercolors as much as if I was to wet it with PVA. And glue stick has another bonus that it keeps the elements repositionable for a while. Uhu glue sticks are also quite strong once dried, but I'll also show you how you can seal everything in the end. Once I picked up the initial elements, I glued everything down. First just partly so I can move some things around, and later I went back and glued it properly. The bottom seemed very empty and unbalanced, so I tried to put a few leaves there, but then I thought I could make a banner and write some nice greeting onto it like postcards often have. So I took my painted collage paper, cut out a rectangle for the banner and two pieces for the ends where I cut a triangle shape into them. I wrote the greeting, glued everything down and shaped the edges to give the piece a bit more dimension. I used a black watercolor pencil for that. You could use any dark color that matches the design. It doesn't need to be black. Then I dissolved it with water brush and smeared it a bit. You could also just leave it without activating with water, or you could use just a normal pencil or crayon if you wanted. At last, I glued two leaves to each end of the banner. As the finishing touch, I decorated the back side with a stamp for where the post stamp will be, and added some lines for the address and separation of the text. I just drew them with brown fine liner from Staedtler, but you could use any pen, marker or pencil for this step. Because I didn't glue all my pieces so thoroughly, and because this thing will be shipped, I spread some undiluted PVA glue on top. You have to be a bit careful with this step and maybe try it out on a scrap project from the same collage papers, because the PVA is water-based and can lift up the watercolor paint from your papers. But it worked fine for me. I take care that I don't go over the same area multiple times, I don't press really hard and pay attention to the direction of my strokes, but that's it. I didn't notice any bleeding though. And now the edges and every little detail are safely sealed and won't fall off during the rumble and tumble of mailing. I hope you make a postcard or two and make someone's day, because really everybody likes handmade postcards. If you don't believe me, just try and let me know how it went. And if you like this project, give it a like and subscribe to Very Arty Fairy for more fun arty things that will hopefully bring some joy to you or your loved ones. See you next week. Bye bye!